Hi, Colin Ross here, Truckee Meadows Community College, Music 101, lecture number 19. Today we are going to discuss some of the conventions of written music and make a couple of corrections to the way some of your homework has been submitted in terms of how it's written in the staff paper. And we are going to look at a little piece of music in the textbook and analyze it and learn it. And we are going to talk about some very standard chord progressions. So those will be our three topics for the day. The first thing I want to talk about is I realized from looking at your homework that I did not give significant explanation to how accidentals work. So if you look at page 33 in your textbook, you'll see the information that corresponds to this part of the lecture. All right, so that's your sharp sign, same as your hashtag. Notice that it's not by accident, but those lines go slightly up to the right. The two parallel lines go slightly up to the right. For the flat sign, it's like a pointed B. This little part right here should be pointed. The natural sign, which I don't think I discussed enough, cancels out any sharp or any flat that preceded it, or any double sharp or any double flat that preceded it. Also, once again, these lines go up slightly to the right. Two parallel lines down and two parallel lines slightly up to the right. The double sharp sign, which I forgot to teach you at all, is here, and the double flat's just two flats. These all go to the left of the note that they are affecting, not to the right of the note that they're affecting. So be sure you put your accidentals to the left of the note. Also be sure the stems on your flat signs are long enough and that the sharp signs are big enough to clearly show in those crosshairs of the hashtag which note is being affected, whether it's the line or the space. So the little square inside, or little parallelogram inside the hashtag is what needs to be centered over the line or space that it's affecting. Accidentals affect that note for the entire rest of the measure unless they are canceled by another accidental. So if there's a sharp sign, that note is sharp for the rest of the measure unless there's a natural sign. Or if there's a flat sign, that note is flat for the rest of the measure unless there's a natural sign. It's like a miniature key signature for the rest of that measure. So those are the things to look out for when you're writing your accidentals. Make sure they're to the left of the note and make sure that they are sized properly, especially the flat signs. So now we're going to move to page 243, and we are going to look at this little piece of music called Lavender's Blue. I just learned this today off of the textbook. And first I'm going to play the melody. We see that it's in 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1. Hold, hold. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1. Hold, hold. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's how we count it. We notice that it's in the key of D. We see the two sharps in the key signature, and the melody goes 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 6, 6, 6, 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 6, 6, sorry about that, 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. That phrase that I missed was 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 6, 6, 6. All right, so those are the scale degrees. So we could play that in any key, for instance, C. 1, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6. 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2. 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. You could change it to any different key, and part of your homework will be to do that. All right, so now let's look at the chords. In the left hand, it has... Oh, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be twice. All right, so now let's take a look at the chords on the piano. Here we go. Do not get dizzy. We see that it is the 1 chord in the key of D, root 3rd, 5th. That's the first chord on the left hand right there. Whoops, where is it? Sorry, there. It says 1 chord, and here is D, G, and B. D, G, and B. So we can see that that's the 4 chord. Here's the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 chord, but instead of being with the D here, it's inverted like we talked about. So here's the root position, first inversion, second inversion. So that's where we are. Second inversion, 4 chord. Then we're back to the 1 chord. Here's the 1 chord. D, F sharp, A. Here's that 4 chord. Then it goes and that's the 5 chord in first inversion. Here's the 5 chord, the A chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every other one of the scale starting on 5, but instead of being in root position, it's in first inversion. So we have a root position 1 chord, D, F, and A. We have a second inversion 4 chord. Here's the root, 3rd, 5th. Then we go back to the 1 chord, root, 3rd, 5th. Then we go to the 5 chord, 3rd, 5th, root. So we have 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, 4, da-da-da, 1 chord, da-da-da-da-da-da, 5 chord, da-da, half cadence, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, plagal cadence, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, standard, authentic cadence. So we have the 3 major type, the 3 basic, or the 2 basic types of cadences, and the first 3 chords of the scale, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, the most basic chords to harmonize folk music with it. So putting that all together, we get the left hand doing 1 chord, da 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 da, 4 chord, da da, 1 chord, da 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 da, 5 chord, da da, 1 chord, da 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 da, 4 chord, da da, 1 chord, da 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 da, 5 chord, da da. So, your homework assignment for next time is going to be to transpose that song to a different key and write in the chord symbols. So one of the other things that I wanted you to notice when you look at page 243 is how the notes that are written on spaces go to the line, either above or below them, and the ones that are written on the lines go to the space above or below them. And so look at how long the stems are, and look at how the spacing corresponds to the actual beats of the measure. Even though that is not required in written music, it sure helps. So now we are going to look at some, here's the chord progression for Lavender's Blue. 1 da 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 da, 1 da da, 1 da 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 da, 4 4, 1 da da, 1 da da da, 5 5, 1 and 1 da 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 da, 4 4, 1 and 1 da 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 da, 5 4 1, 5 5 4 1. Sorry, I got the melody wrong. So if I stop thinking about it as written music and I just think about it as the chords and the melody, now I could... What did I do wrong? I went to the 5 chord instead of the 4 chord. So that time I played the chords that has arpeggios when I went through the chords. Or you can play octaves down here. Or you could play. Or you could play. Now I'm filling in the rest of the chord in my right hand below the melody. Instead of just playing the A, I'm playing the rest of the chord. Or I could play it in octaves. Or now I'm spacing it out farther, playing it in octaves and filling in the chord and putting my hands farther apart. Or if I wanted to play a really simple version of it, that's what's actually written. So once you understand how the chords and the melodies and the scale degrees work together, it frees you up to be able to hear all kinds of different arrangements, play all kinds of different arrangements, conceive all kinds of different arrangements, and understand how the music was put together to begin with. All right, so that was the lavender blue chord progression, and now we are going to move on to 2 other very famous chord progressions. The first chord progression that I'm going to teach you, this next chord progression that I'm going to teach you, and this will be in your notes, is the Pachelbel canon in D chord progression. And it goes 1, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 4, 5. And then it repeats 1, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 4, 5. In D, it would be 1, the D chord, 5, the A chord, 6, B minor chord, 3, F sharp minor chord, 4, G chord, 1, D chord, 4, G chord, 5, A chord, back to the beginning, 1, D, 5, A, 6, B minor, 3, F sharp minor, 4, G, 1, D, 4, G, 5, A, 5, 6, 4, 5, 1, sorry, 4, 5, 1, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5. Where's my guitar pick? Sorry. In D. 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 4, 5. In bar chords. Oops. Sorry, I have an ugly 1 chord. So, that's one of the chord progressions that has been fragmented and used in so many different ways, especially the if you simplify it in half. 1, 5, 6, 4. Have you got time to listen to me? Why? And it just, there's so many songs that involve that exact fragment of chord progression. So that's a chord progression that can be played in lots of different ways and lots of different keys. So one of the assignments that you will have is to play that or transpose that chord progression into different keys. Another interesting thing about that chord progression is that a descending diatonic line harmonizes that. So here's, as I go down through the scale, there's the 1 chord, 5 chord, 6, 3, 4, 1. So that's a progression that we will learn in all the different keys, but we'll at least learn it, transpose it to a couple of different keys. The next progression that I want to address is the blues progression. And there's lots of different variations on this. This is the most simple, standard version of the 12-bar blues that can, I think, is very normal. And there's, of course, hundreds and hundreds of variations on it and lots of different ways to play it. But this is the most popular one, I believe. So it's the 1 chord and the 4 chord and 2 more bars of the 1 chord. It's 3 4-bar phrases. Then the 4 chord as a 7th, the 4 chord as a 7th, then the 1 chord and the 1 chord. Then the 5 chord as a 7th, the 4 chord as a 7th, and the 1 chord and a 5 chord. So this is the, here we are in the 12-bar blues. And one of the things about the blues progression is that a lot of the time the chords will be played as dominant 7th chords that wouldn't be dominant 7th chords in the key. For instance, the 1 chord, which would ordinarily be a major 7th chord in the key, gets played as a dominant 7th chord or as a 6th chord. And the 4 chord, which would ordinarily be a major 7th in the key, almost always gets played as a dominant 7th in blues. So there's not very many major 7ths in blues as a general rule. 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord, 4 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord, 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 5 chord, turn around. 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, so 4, 1, 5, in root position a lot of the time to make it really obvious. A lot of time you wouldn't do that. So a lot of times I would have used the inversion to the 4 chords if I wasn't trying to make the root movement so obvious. All right, so that's the 12-bar blues progression. Also, when we go back to page 243, just for fun, I thought I would show you the recorder fingering for that little song. So it's in the key of D. Here we are on D in recorder. 1, 2, 3 is F sharp, 4 is G, 5 is A, 6 is B, 7 is C sharp, and 8 and 1 are D. For this particular song, all we need are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So here's a little hesitation right before I went to the B, so I would practice that. Better. All right. And if you wanted to learn it in C, here's C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right up the C scale, and it's still 1, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 6, 6, 6. And I would practice that. And the downward scale, get it right. Etc. So there you go. There's your lecture number 19. Your assignment is going to be to transpose that little Lavender's Blue on page 243 and write it exactly as you can, and I will assign it in the key of C to make it easy, and I will assign it in the key of, oh, let's say A flat to make it difficult. And I will ask you to write out the chord progression in grand staff and in chord symbols of the Pachelbel canon. So that will involve writing in grand staff the actual chords with the roots in the left hand and triads in the right hand. And I'll give you some notes on that to publish that you can check. And we'll go through at least notating what the 7th chord would be of the 12-bar blues progression in something besides C. All right, that's your lecture number 19. Look for the notes. Bye.